Welcome to the class of chemistry, the second lesson after the introduction. Today we will be looking at mainly three things. One, we'll be looking at the branches of chemistry. Secondly, we'll be looking at the sources of heat in the laboratory. And then thirdly, we will look at Bunsen burner. The below are the branches of chemistry. Like we said earlier from our first video, we talk about chemistry being a branch of science that deals with the studies of the composition, the structure, and the properties of matter under different conditions. Here we are looking at, under these 5 branches, the whole of chemistry is learned. More like the whole of chemistry is learned under these 5 under these 5 branches. The first branch of chemistry is organic chemistry. This deals with the chemistry of carbon or compounds of carbon. The second branch is the inorganic chemistry. This deals with materials that do not have carbon. The third branch is analytical chemistry, which deals with analyzing the compositions of materials. The fourth is physical chemistry. This deals with the behavior of materials. And the last branch is biochemistry. Biochemistry is a branch of chemistry that deals with the chemistry of living things. You will learn some things about these 5, I think, right from senior 1 up to senior 4. You're going to be looking at some work on these 5. Then to come to the second objective, that is the source of heat in the laboratory. Like we explained earlier, laboratory is a building or a room or an institution where experiments or an experiment is carried out. Then we say in the laboratory there are other instruments or other chemical experiments or other experimentations that require heating, that requires burning, that require a number of things. And we say one of the things that we do in the lab is to either heat or boil, or we burn some things to produce a required result. And we say basically in the laboratory we have 4 main sources of heat, meaning things that we use to generate heat in the lab. The first is the Bunsen burner. We will learn about this later. The second is the spirit lamp. The third is the stove. And the fourth is a candle. These are not okay. We are not limited to the 4. Any other thing that is a source of heat and that can generate heat can also be part or one of the sources of heat in the laboratory. And you look below the 4 sources, you look at the appearances in form of picture of the 4. Of the 3, the first 3, Bunsen burner, stove, and spirit lamp. Bunsen burner, one of the sources of heat in the laboratory. Maybe in a very simple term, we can say a Bunsen burner is an instrument used in the laboratory to generate or to produce heat. In other words, it's also defined as an instrument that is mostly preferred for heat generation in the laboratory. It is the most preferred instrument for heat generation, because the use of Bunsen burner is very effective in so many ways. We will learn that later. We say Bunsen burner was invented in 1854 by a German scientist named Robert Wilhelm Bunsen, and I think the name Bunsen is not an instrument, but is someone's name, that is okay, like the inventor, and the instrument he invented is named after him. We are looking at the structure of a Bunsen burner. This is how a Bunsen burner looks like. This is the internal structure. What we saw earlier on is the external structure, as you see from the outside, but what you see here is the exposure of the inner contents or features of Bunsen burner. Now, Bunsen burner is made up of some features, so some parts. Like first is the chimney, we have the collar, we have the air hole, we have the rubber tubing or the rubber tube, we have the base, and we have the jet. And this becomes the functions of the parts. Like the first, the chimney, we say it is the part of a Bunsen burner that is designed to raise flame to a suitable height for heating. Looking back at the structure, chimney is just like a hollow pipe that raises the flame, or allows the flame to raise to the top, or to the directed or to the expected position. And then we look at the second, which is the collar, and we say the collar is the part of Bunsen burner that regulates the amount of air entering the Bunsen burner by opening and closing the air hole. Now, first, this is this small opening. When you look at the Bunsen burner, this small opening on the Bunsen burner is the air hole, allowing certain amount of air inside the Bunsen burner, and that the air allowed is for expected or for a desired level of flame. That is what the collar does. Then we have the third part, which is the base. What is it for? We say the base is used for supporting the burner so that it does not topple, or maybe it does not. It supports the Bunsen burner so that it remains in a fixed position. It does not shake, it does not move anyhow, or maybe falls anyhow. The fourth part is the rubber tube or rubber tubing. When you have a look, the rubber tubing is a connection, more like a pipe that connects the Bunsen burner to a gas source. Actually, like have a look here, we say this rubber tube, it is a tube that is made of rubber that is connecting the gas source and the Bunsen burner together. More like it collects gas from a gas source and channels it to the burner for effective combustion or effective burning. We have the air hole. Remember I showed you a few minutes ago. We said the air hole allows a constant supply of air to support burning. Now we know when it is widened, more oxygen is allowed in, and we know oxygen is a gas that supports burning. Then for that case, the wider the hole, the more supply of oxygen. The narrower the hole, the less supply of oxygen into the burner. The last part is the jet. And what is the work of the jet? I want you to have a look at the jet. We say when you see the jet, it's just a very small outlet, small outlet, more like a small opening. Then what is the work of the jet? The work of the jet is to allow gas supply into the burner by pushing it to the chimney. It also controls the amount of gas supply from the gas source. Now, how to light a Bunsen burner? How do you light a Bunsen burner? 3 main steps to take when lighting a Bunsen burner. We said the first is connect the rubber tube to the gas source or to a gas supply, and the Bunsen burner. Let the two be connected. Connect the rubber tubing to the gas source and the Bunsen burner. Then as you do that, ensure that the rubber tubing is well fitted on both ends. And secondly, make sure that the collar is in position so that the air holes are nearly closed. For a start, this is what must happen. You have to ensure that the collar is in the right position so that the air holes are not widely open. It has to be slightly opened, or more like nearly closed, actually, like slightly small space to allow the little supply of oxygen. We said this will ensure that the flame is at its closest and visible once the gas is ignited. That is the reason for allowing the air hole to be nearly closed.
Okay, so this is how to properly light and adjust a Bunsen burner. So we have our Bunsen burner here, and it has several components to it. We have a rubber tube that is connected to our gas jet coming out of the lab table. And we have a valve on the bottom that controls whether or not gas can flow through the Bunsen burner. And then we have our air vents right here. So we're going to use all 3 points of control to properly light and adjust a Bunsen burner. So first off, we always start at the table. This is our gas jet. We make this parallel, and that allows the gas to start filling our rubber tube here. But it's not leaking into the classroom right now because the valve on the bottom is closed. Before we open the valve, we should have a match ready, because when we open the valve, gas will start to come out of the Bunsen burner, and if we have to fiddle around getting a match out, that's time where we're leaking gas into the classroom, so it's something to be avoided. Okay, next we're going to open that gas valve until we hear a hiss coming through the Bunsen burner, and that is natural gas coming through, so methane. Light our match, and we're going to bring it up from the bottom because there's a cloud of gas accumulating right here, and I don't want my hand in that cloud of gas when it bursts into flames. Okay, blow out our match. All right, now we have our Bunsen burner lit, but it's not properly adjusted at this point. The purpose of the Bunsen burner is to create a very stable high temperature flame, and an orange flickering flame like this one is not stable. So first off, this is too tall. I'm going to use the valve on the bottom to decrease the height of the Bunsen burner flame. Then I'm going to open up these air vents. Now the reason why this is not a stable flame is because it's flickering. It's not high temperature because it's orange. Higher temperature flames are going to be blue in color. So we're going to open this valve, this air vent, excuse me, and that's going to allow air to come in here and mix with the gas before it lights on fire up at the top of the burner. And when you get that ideal ratio of air, which has oxygen in it, to methane in our natural gas, we start to get a higher temperature flame. So right now it's already blue, but I'm going to keep opening my air vents until I get a nice focused inner blue cone inside the flame of the Bunsen burner. And that is right at the tip of that inner blue cone, very stable inner blue cone, is the highest temperature flame part of the flame, and that's 1700 degrees Celsius approximately. Then we have that softer outer blue cone that has curvy sides. It's kind of hard to see if you don't have a dark background, but that is what our properly adjusted flame looks like. A double blue cone is how we refer to that. Turning a Bunsen burner off. For safety reasons, we want to turn it off at the table first. If I'm messing around with the valve down here and I turn it the wrong way, the screw could come out and flames could shoot out the bottom, and I don't want my hands to be involved in that kind of craziness. So I'm going to turn it off at the table first. Now that the flame is gone, I can adjust the valve, close it up, and close the air vents, and it is ready for the next person to start fresh.
Then, as we approach towards the end of our today's lesson, we look at the safety precautions when lighting a Bunsen burner. These are things you have to really be careful when lighting a Bunsen burner. One, you have to ensure that you have a clean working area and a fireproof table. The second is know where the safety equipment is located and how to use it, or know where they are kept and know how to use them. Otherwise, in case of any fire that hurts, so you will be safe. The third is make sure there are no cracks in the tube, the rubber tube or the rubber tubing. What you have to do is gently squeeze the rubber along the entire length and bend it at several places while you look carefully for cracks. If you see any, replace the tubing. This one is very important because in case the tube or the rubber tube has a crack, an opening that allows the gas to escape, so there is probably a chance of danger of fire outbreak. You know, gas is highly flammable, and in case it happens, before you know, the whole building is on fire. So therefore, you have to really be very cautious when lighting a Bunsen burner. We have come to the end of our today's lesson. I will ask you to like the video, you share it with a friend you love to also learn. Then lastly, I will ask you to subscribe to our channel so that you get a notification of any video we upload and you keep learning. Thank you so much.
Once you have a flame, this knob will control the height of your flame. You don't need it so high, you don't need to take your eyebrows off. And then by turning this dial, you can control the color of your flame. What we want is a blue flame with a tight inner blue cone. It's the tip of that tight inner blue cone that's the hottest part of the flame, and that's what we're going to use for sterilization.